What if I told you that backing up your NSX Manager could be as simple as setting up a Windows server? No expensive storage solutions required. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how to configure Windows Server 2019 as a SFTP backup destination for NSX Manager. And trust me, it's way easier than you think. By the end of this video, you'll have a fully automated backup system running in your lab or production environment. All right, let's dive in. Here's what you'll need before we get started. A Windows Server 2019 or newer, and you also need to have admin access to your Windows Server 2019, and you need OpenSSH server. And here's the great news. It is already built into Windows Server 2019 and later versions, but we need to install it first. So in this demo, I'm using a dedicated Windows Server 2019 as my backup server for this lab. The host name for this server is backup01. All right, first things first, go ahead and open up PowerShell as administrator. Now to install OpenSSH server, I'm simply going to run this command, add Windows capability online name OpenSSH server 0.0.1.0. Press enter. All right, now it's going to install the OpenSSH binaries on this server. Okay, the binaries for OpenSSH server has been installed. Now let's start the SSH service by typing this command, start-service SSHD. Now I'm going to configure it to start automatically every time the server boots up. So I'm going to type in this command, set-service -name SSHD -startup automatic. Press enter. All right, now SSH service is going to start up automatically every time this server boots up. And just to make sure SSH service is running, I will go ahead and run this command, get-service SSHD, press enter. All right, you can see it is running. Next, if Windows Firewall is enabled on this server, you need to allow SSH traffic on port 22. Now in this demo, I've actually disabled the Windows Firewall just to keep things simple. So I'm going to skip this step, but if you are doing this in production, you will definitely want to run this command, new-net firewall rule -name SSHD, give it a display name, something like OpenSSH server SSHD, enable it by setting it true, direction is inbound, and protocol is TCP, action is allow, and local port is 22. I'm going to skip this. All right. Now let's create a dedicated user account just for NSX Manager backups. I'm going to run this command, new-local user -name NSX backup and a description, something like NSX Manager backup user -no password. Press enter. All right, the user account is created. Now we'll set a strong password for this user by specifying the password. So I'm going to specify my standard password. And I'm going to set this password for this new user that we just created by typing this command, set-local user -name NSX backup -password and the password variable. Press enter. All right, next up, we'll create a dedicated folder for the backups by running the command, new item -path is C drive backups, and it's a directory. Press enter. All right, the backup directory is created. Now we need to make sure that the C drive backups folder is owned by either system or the administrators group on this server. Let me open up the file explorer, go to this PC, C drive, and you can see here the backups folder is created. So I'm going to right click on it, click properties, click security, and click advanced. And you can see right here, the owner is the administrators group of this server, which is backup01. All right. Next up, I need to give full permissions to the NSX backup user account we created earlier. So I'm going to click add. Then I'll click on select a principal and I'm going to type in NSX backup. I'll click check names and click OK. Now I'm going to give it full control and I want to make sure this applies to this folder, subfolders and files, and click OK. Click OK again, OK again. All right, this next part is really critical. What we are doing here is modifying the SSH configuration file to tell the server exactly which folder to use for backups. So whenever this NSX backup user we just created connects to this server backup 01, it'll automatically land into this backups folder we just set up. All right, I'm going to open the SSH configuration file. So you'll find this at C drive program data SSH, and here's the config file. So I'm going to right click on it, click open with notepad. In this file, find ch root directory, scroll down a little and you'll see ch root directory. I'm going to uncomment this and set it to the root folder for NSX backups, which is C drive backups. Make sure you put the folder name in double quotes. Okay, I'm going to save the file, close this and close this. And I'm back in PowerShell. So I'm going to restart the SSH service so my changes will take effect. For that, I'm going to type restart -service space SSHD, press enter. All right, the service has been restarted. Okay, so far, if you're finding this helpful, hit that subscribe button. I post videos like these every week to make your IT life easier. All right, now let's test the connection. You can do this from any other machine, or you can just go directly into your NSX Manager CLI. So what I've done here, I have opened up a PuTTY session to my NSX Manager, and I'm just going to go ahead and type in the command SFTP and the username that we created, which is NSX backup at the backup server IP address, which is 192.168.10.9. Press enter. When prompted, enter the password you set earlier for NSX backup user. Press enter. All right, I'm connected to the SFTP server. Let me type pwd present working directory. And you can see here it shows the root directory for remote working directory. And in this case, the root directory is C drive backups. And to see if I can create a folder, I'm going to type make dir space test, press enter. All right, that works. And if I go back to my backup server, go into the folder, C drive backups. All right, you can see the test folder is created. So this shows my SFTP connection and access is fine. So I'm going to right click and delete. Now if this works, you're all set. Your Windows Server is now ready to receive SFTP backups from NSX Manager. Okay, now once your Windows Server is configured as an SFTP server, you can configure NSX Manager to back up to it. This is where everything comes together. Here is exactly how it is configured. Oh, by the way, just so you know, I am running NSX Manager version 3.2.2 here, but don't worry, this process should work just fine on newer versions as well. So I'm going to log into my NSX Manager using admin privileges. Click login. You can see up here, it says that I've not configured backups for my NSX Manager. So I'm going to click System and click Backup and Restore under Lifecycle Management. And I'll click on Edit under NSX Configuration. So I'm going to configure the following settings under Backup Configuration. So first thing, I'm going to specify the SFTP server IP address, which is 192.168.10.9. And you can see SFTP is the only supported protocol for NSX Manager backups. I'll keep the default port, which is 22. For the directory path, I will specify /NSX backup, which will create another folder called NSX backup in the root folder C drive backups. All right. Now I'm going to specify the username, which is NSX backup, and I'll specify the password for the NSX backup user. Now enter a passphrase to encrypt the backup files. This is optional, but I'll still specify a password. Now this will be useful if you want to restore from this backup. So I'm going to specify my standard passphrase. Okay, I'm going to click Save to apply the configuration. Click on Add to add the fingerprint, which is missing, and I'll click Save again. All right, the configuration has been applied. Now to test the backup, click on Start Backup. Now if everything is fine, it is going to start the backup. All right, we'll wait for this to complete. Okay, you can see it says last backup is successful, and under backup history, I have a backup which has been taken just now. Okay, coming to the backup schedule, here you can click on Edit to set how often you want backups to run. So I'm going to enable recurring backup. Click on Weekly, and you can run this all 7 days of the week or just few days of the week. Let's say I'm going to run only on Sunday at 23 hours. In my case, I'm going to make this run all days. And I'm going to enable this option, detect NSX configuration change. So what this will do, it will take a complete configuration backup whenever there's a change in NSX configuration. And I can specify the update interval as well. So I'm going to specify 1 hour. All right, I'm going to click Save. Now on my backup server, if I open up C drive backups, you can see here it has created a folder called NSX backup. And in here, if I go into cluster node backups and expand this, you can see it has created folders for 2 of my NSX Manager nodes. And if I open one of them, I can see the backup files are created along with the timestamp. And if I open one of them, I can see the zip file in here. Now, as a best practice, I always recommend testing your backup by doing a restore every now and then, just to make sure everything works when you actually need it. And of course, keep your backups in multiple locations for redundancy. In a production environment, here's what I typically do. If I have an enterprise backup solution, I will backup this Windows server that is acting as my SFTP location. Or if your backup solution natively supports SFTP, you can point it directly to that location and push your NSX Manager backups right into it. Either way, the key thing is to keep an eye on your backup history logs. Make sure you're checking for any failures or warnings. And if you got a monitoring system in place, definitely set it up to watch your backup history so you can catch any issues right away. And that's it. You have just set up automated NSX Manager backups to a Windows server using SFTP. No complex storage arrays, no expensive licensing, just a simple, reliable backup solution. If this video saved you time or solved a problem for you, make sure you hit that like button, share it with your IT teammates, and drop a comment below. And if you haven't already subscribed, please click on the subscribe button and tap that bell icon so you get notified every time I drop a new video. Hey guys, if you have enjoyed this content and want to help me keep making more videos like these, the research, the scripting, the editing, there are a couple of really easy ways that you can support the channel. Honestly, every little bit helps and I genuinely appreciate it. First up, you can buy me a coffee. The link is right there on the screen down in the description. You can also click that thanks button right below this video. It's super quick and goes directly to supporting the channel. And if you're watching from India, I've also got PhonePe scanner on the screen. Thank you so much for watching and I will catch you in the next video.